And what do you look for when it comes to new individuals, whether it be mechanic or pilot or other missionaries who wants to join? Could you share with us a little of what does it take to keep something like this going?
And trust in God.
I knew he was going to say that, guys. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you did not hear the amazing testimony of our director here, Dwayne Harris, please, link will be in the description. It's right there on your screen. You have to go and listen to that interview. I have been privileged to invite him back. Yes, he is back with us. And we're going to be covering a little bit information because I'm sure you guys are wondering, after his testimony, he's been here now for 14 years. The miracle of how God even provided a wife for him in the mission field. They've been married now for over 13 years. It's just amazing. And so I would like to share with you, asking him basically to share with us some updates. Now, people might be wondering, how often do you fly, where are you flying, what are you flying, etc. What is your role now? What is the role you mainly play now in Philippines Adventist Medical Aviation Services?
Well, a lot of it is development and coordinating. To start with, of course, I was doing most of the flying, but it seems like it's much easier to get people that are willing to come over and serve if there's already infrastructure and already stuff established, project established, where they can just come and be the pilot or mechanic or whatever. And it's pretty tough to find people that are willing to go out and start something from nothing. So we did that, with the first project. We found some other people that were able to continue it and fly and, run the project there. And then we moved up to Luzon and developed and built another air base and set that up and got people that can run and keep that going. And then we moved to Mindanao and built another air base, which we're just finishing up. It's pretty well finished, and now we're kind of in the phase where we're starting to develop, our network and share with people that we're here, we're available, and what we can do. And I also do a lot of mechanic stuff. I'm still, I guess, the most experienced mechanic we have, and so if there's any major maintenance, like engine overhauls and stuff like that, I'll be the one that does that.
Oh, wow. I know recently you just went to the U.S. You spent about 3.5 months. What was that trip for, and when was the last time you went back?
Well, we normally go back about every 2 years, and it was 2 years again, but also some things had been coming up, and that God had put things together to buy an overhaul kit for our R-44 helicopter, and we needed some other stuff for our other aircraft, and so we wanted to get a bunch of stuff together to ship over here. And then also I needed to do some trainings because of civil aviation here. We've been doing our own engine overhauls and stuff, but they're telling me we can't do that anymore unless me or someone else has the certificate they've been through their factory training. So I needed to go through that, so because we have an overhaul coming up on the 206 that we need for a new engine for that, and just the other stuff that comes up maintenance wise.
And we know we're in a COVID situation. You born and raised in America, do you see any what was America like for you going back? Now it's a pandemic. What were some of your observation there, being back in the States?
Well, everything went pretty smoothly with our travels back, and I don't know, kind of on the surface, I guess everything is largely the same, but just the attitude of people is definitely changing. You know, I'm generalizing, you know, there's always exceptions, but people seem to be getting very, I don't know, polarized, like on different issues.
Right.
And like, if you don't agree or see things the way they see them, then, you know, they don't want to be your friends. Whereas in the past, you know, it seemed like, you know, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. We'll agree to disagree. But it's getting less and less like that. And it's not a good trait or thing to be happening either.
Right. And being there 3.5 months, what was the experience like moving around? Did you get everything you needed accomplished?
Well, we were praying a lot that God would guide us in our time and our trip there, and it was phenomenal how smoothly everything went. And I had a friend that had a Mooney that he let us borrow and use, so we traveled around the U.S. with, you know, our own airplane. That was a huge blessing, because I don't like flying commercially, just because of the, you know, hassles with it. And, you know, of course, driving takes a lot of hours for the amount of area we covered. So, but we were, you know, started out in Tennessee where the airplane was, and to Florida, Alabama, up through Oklahoma, Colorado to Montana, out to the Oregon, almost out to the coast, and up to Canada and back across and up to Pennsylvania. So put about 60 hours on that airplane.
Wow.
And it's a fairly fast airplane.
So something else like a 182 would have taken maybe twice the amount. Gotcha. So now that you're back, what's next for you? What project are you working on now?
Well, we're kind of working on trying to develop our you know, request network there in Mindanao, and just, you know, letting the areas with airstrips and stuff know that we're available, you know, if medical emergencies come up, and how we can, you know, tie that in with the local church work and having them kind of be our contact base. So we're going to be working on that. I just mentioned that shipment. We got everything together for that right before we came back, and it should be arriving early January. So there'll be a lot of stuff, including overhauling the helicopter and putting another engine on the 206, and a number of things that will give us lots of work from what's inside that ship.
Awesome. So one of the other things too is I get a lot of emails. I get private messages of individuals always asking me, how can I sign up? Do you need more pilots, etc.? And I'm always telling them, I'm not human resource. I'm not recruiting any individual. So I decided whenever you come and we can interact, I would love for you to share what are the opportunities in PAMAS that is available for grabs right now, and what do you look for when it comes to new individuals, whether it be mechanic or pilot or other missionaries who wants to join?
Well, you know, we have needs for more pilots, mechanics, you know, people with various kinds of skills, whether it be, you know, medical personnel, teachers, people that are good with agriculture. But one of the, I guess, first things we're looking for is people that are totally committed to the Lord in whatever their, you know, service, their capacity they're serving in. You know, we need, during the pandemic, there's been a lot of pilots that have lost their jobs, and we've had various people willing to come and volunteer to fly with us, but we're looking for missionaries who are pilots, not pilots, just pilots.
Right.
So, and people that are willing to do anything, you know. If you're not, like if you're a pilot and you're not flying, that you're just willing to go help in whatever capacity you can help with whatever projects are going on. It seems like we've always got building projects going on, you know, or go help in the garden or, you know, whatever. Just the willingness to do anything if you have time and can help with it.
And what are the commitment from PAMAS for these individuals in terms of do you give salary? Does the ministry give persons a paycheck at the end of the month with benefits for that work that they're going to put into the ministry?
Well, we like everyone that comes to be there for the service of God, not what they can get out of it. So those especially that are coming from, you know, the States or other countries that are more financially capable, that they have or, you know, raise their own support. And, you know, those that have no capability of doing that, we have a number of teachers and Bible workers that we do support with a basic stipend, you know, enough to cover their food and basic needs, so they can, you know, work. But it doesn't provide anything more than that. And, you know, we're not here to provide jobs for people. We're here to provide opportunities to be of service. And, you know, if your situation, there's no way that you can get any outside support, then we can potentially, you know, help with that, with your basic needs. But beyond that, we don't provide anything.
Okay. So for pilots coming in, I know a lot of them, especially they will compare their point of reference like MAF and different aviation ministry. They usually ask what rating do they need and how many hours and if they need to be a mechanic as well. And you always have that argument, right? So for PAMAS or Philippines Adventist Medical Aviation Services, for pilots and mechanics, what are some of the basic things you look for ratings or experience?
Well, for pilots, the baseline that you have to have is a private pilot license with an instrument rating.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm not so much on, you know, stating a set number of hours, as everyone, you know, people have different natural abilities. Some are much better piloted at 200 hours than someone else is at, you know, even 1,000 hours sometimes. So, you know, but an instrument rating is a necessity, and from there, you know, we'll fly with you and till we feel you're comfortable and competent enough to do flights on your own. And
okay, that's good. And what about mechanics? Anything for the mechanic who is wanting to come help fix and service and maintain the aircraft? What do you look for those guys?
Well, obviously, the more experience a person has, the more useful you can be. But you know, just I guess that heart and desire to serve and do whatever you can do, whether it be, you know, working on an airplane or a helicopter or a vehicle or a motorcycle or, you know, or just helping with other things too. Again, just that willingness to be able to do anything where a hand is needed to help.
Oh, okay, good. All right, and so for those who might be thinking about joining a ministry like this or directors here, you can go over to the website pamasmissions.org. It's right there on your screen. Fill out an application. Someone filled out an application recently, and while filling it out, they messaged me and they asked a question that I'm going to ask you, which is, the application asked them, are you a Seventh-day Adventist? And the person didn't know what to put. So when it comes to that question, why is it there? And what are you looking for in terms of the answer to that question?
Well, the reason that's asked is just to get an idea where people are with their I don't know, biblical understanding. As an Adventist, we kind of embrace they call, I guess, a holistic approach to life, and our physical and our spiritual and our mental are closely tied together. And so we're trying to, take care of ourselves physically and, mentally the best we can. And so, at our air bases, we strongly encourage being vegetarian, as that's shown to be by far the most healthful way of eating. And we also discourage partaking in any kind of secular media stuff, just because the more what we feed our minds with is what's going to come out. So if we're feeding our minds with spiritual things, we're going to be more spiritual. If we're feeding our minds with secular things, we're going to struggle spiritually. So that's, one reason. And, as Adventists, we also believe in keeping Sabbath, Saturday, as, the day of rest. So that's kind of our day of rest as we're able. And yeah, just, we have a few non-Adventists that work with us. And, that's fine. They're very committed Christians, and, that's the most important thing. But, they're also willing to, try to adopt and adapt their lifestyles to the way all the missionaries around them are living.
Right, and that's good. So basically, we see the whole project, we see the dynamics. What is the size of the team like now? Like, how many pilots and airplane and helicopters do you have, and volunteers with the ministry?
Well, we got about 45 volunteers total. There's about 6 pilots. We have 5 airplanes and 2 helicopters. They're not all of them are flying all the time, but we're trying to keep them, obviously flying as much as we can.
Okay.
But yeah, and there's, I don't know, I think almost 10 teachers, and a number of Bible workers, and then several mechanics and other guys that help, with maintenance, and then agriculture stuff and various things.
Wow. So a team like this, you as the head of the whole ministry looking at this thing, could you share with us a little of what does it take to keep something like this going?
And trust in God.
I knew he was going to say that, guys.
But I think largely why God has blessed us as much as he has, and with the people we have, is because none of us, we have our different project directors, like in Palawan, Sean, and up north, Ray, and none of us are into micromanaging things. If you come and work with us, we need people that are self-directed and motivated, not someone that has to tell you every little thing that needs done, but, people that can, just see, oh, there's a need, and go and do it, And, obviously, the need for guidance is in there at some times, but, yeah, just, and for me, I don't talk with Sean or Ray very often about issues directly relating. I've told them, if there's anything, that you need our advice on or anything, let me know, and we'll help in what we can. But so in that aspect, I don't, they call me occasionally for questions and stuff, and sometimes I have to go to the projects to visit, to do maintenance things on the aircraft or annual inspections or something. But I largely don't have anything to do with their, daily operations and stuff. And so it's, I leave that to them, and of course pray a lot that God will be guiding and granting them wisdom. And same in Mindanao, we have a kind of a local director, Filipino, and when I'm not around, he takes care of everything, and I don't meddle in what he's involved in. Of course, he's got questions sometimes that I help him with, and I give as much guidance as he seems like he needs or wants.
Okay.
But beyond that, I just focus on the areas, largely aviation and, building, but I've been focusing more and more on trying to mentor and develop this different skills, especially with building and mending out. So we have a team of guys that, can do that where I don't have to even get involved in it.
Okay.
Occasionally, I'll help, I'll give my advice and based on my experience and stuff. But yeah, it's I don't have to worry about a lot of little things, so it allows me to keep my perspective on the broader vision and purpose of things. So.
And that's good. That's good. So looking at the dynamics of this team, so much aircraft, helicopter pilots, volunteers, etc. From the leadership standpoint, depending on donations and so on average. And you said donations come in just randomly. You do have some who might commit monthly. Other times it's just random people at the spur of the moment. God opened their hearts. When the donation comes in, how do you disseminate that or how is that distributed in terms of needs?
Well, some of our other missionaries also have, support, financial support. And as I have encouraged all of them, don't just focus on, your own thing, but try to keep the whole ministry in view, with your finances. So, they're all fully in, so they use everything they have every month. And basically, I just talk to them every month and say, hey, how are you looking financially? Do you need anything? What projects do you going on? Do you need any extra money? And so I'll give them, as much as I can. And then, if they don't need anything, great. That means I can put more towards some of the other development projects and stuff we're working on.
Right. So when donations come in, where does the bulk of it go in terms of versus the human resource and the machines? Who gets the most of the bulk of the resources on a month-to-month basis?
Machines and development. I mean, we probably need about $5,000 a month to support all of our missionaries with their basic needs. Okay. But it probably would be average out to be double that for the needs for the aircraft to keep operating them, whether it be fuel or maintenance. It may be triple that. I mean, I don't, it's hard to know sometimes exactly because, like I said, some of the other missionaries have their own support and are putting that in that I don't account for financially. But it is significantly more, to keep all the aircraft going, to keep them maintained and flying.
So from the aviation perspective, are you involved in commercial operations, like especially now in the pandemic? Are you offering anything commercial to help offset the operating costs of these airplanes?
Well, what we do when we do get flight requests, like medical flight requests, oftentimes, they're all into areas that are not easily accessible, whether it be remote islands or, coastal areas like up in North Luzon. So there's oftentimes people wanting to get back. So, we got seats open going one way. We'll invite them to come along if they'll contribute, towards the cost and stuff. So on that way, but it's not in areas where commercial flights are even an option for them largely. So so it worked out
It works
well.
out good. And that's good. That's right. I've noticed that too, doing some missions. And, sometimes people are like, oh, can I charter your airplane? And I'm like, it's not a commercial operations, but we don't like me personally, I feel so alone when I'm in the airplane by myself. So it's like I like when there's like a reason, even if the person is not sick, they're tagging along and I help them out, etc. And I see the benefits of that. As we bring this update to a close, people are always watching these videos. They're sitting there at home thinking, how could I be involved? They might not be a pilot or a mechanic or a Bible worker or volunteer, but they're saying, I would like to hear more and be a part of the support team that keeps the wheel turning financially, etc. What are the areas of needs now that you can see that would be, high priority, or this one is coming up, etc., that you could share with us?
Well, on a monthly basis, of course, all the different Bible workers and teachers and stuff we're supporting. But as far as other specific needs, like we're going to be changing out the engine in our 206 here probably in January or February. And at that time, we have to have the propeller overhauled as well. So that's coming up, and I don't know exactly how much that's going to end up costing. We have the engine, but the propeller overhaul will probably be approximately $5,000. We have a Bell 47 helicopter project someone gave us that we're still working on, getting everything together for, that we're lacking a couple main things like the bubble for it, the little bubble canopy and tail rotors. So we're lacking approximately 20,000 to finish getting the rest of the stuff we need to get that flying.
Okay. And where would that helicopter be stationed when it gets in, when you get it up and running?
I think we'll probably put it in Mindoro.
Okay.
Just because there's a lot of work going on in the mountains right now. And I know there's a need for it there. So that's kind of where I see the biggest opportunity for it to be used.
Do you already have a pilot for that?
We have a helicopter pilot that's coming over here probably within a month or two. I'll probably get him into flying the R-44 when we get it overhauled.
Okay.
So with him on board, there's 3 of us again. I guess I would probably end up being the one to take it up to Mindoro and starting up a little project directly there. But we have some other interests, helicopter pilots that are interested, but things may change in the future, but right now COVID's kind of the hindering thing of getting people into this country right now.
So the ministry takes a lot of finances to keep going, as you mentioned as an example, about $5,000 a month for just the human resource side of the Bible workers, the missionaries, the mechanics, volunteers. What have you noticed about God's provision financially for the ministry before COVID and now into this COVID pandemic?
Yeah, people ask me that a lot, like how it's affected us, and yeah, if anything, we've gotten busier with the aviation side. That is, it's proved a little bit of a challenge in other ways, with the Bible work and sometimes the schools, but the aviation work has got more busy, and we've been getting more financial support in the last year, I think, than we normally do. Just in the last 4 months, we've gotten over $100,000 for various projects that we need, including that R-44 overhaul and the 172 we need to repair and various other, aviation-related needs. But yeah, the Lord's really been faithful in providing and sustaining things. And I think as people see Jesus' second coming drawing near, you know, seeing the signs of the times and what's going on around us, they're realizing, hey, you know, if we don't use what we have and invest it in God's work, we're not going to be able to do anything with it pretty soon. So
Gotcha. So basically, you're saying that God is not in a lockdown situation where He stopped blessing because the pandemic or whatever. We're actually seeing more busyness with the flying and the aviation, and more hours mean more maintenance, more upkeep, more demands, and God is providing that. When you were in the States or throughout your travels this 3.5 months, did you have any particular experience that just blew your mind, the extent to which He continues to impress individuals to give?
well, we were sharing at a church when we were down in Alabama going through one of the overhaul courses, and we were invited over to some other people's house for lunch. They didn't go to that same church we were sharing at, but another one. But anyway, we had lunch with them, and they were wanting to hear more about our ministry and stuff, so we were sharing with them, and they asked us, you know, what our needs were, and I just told him one thing. I was like, well, one of our most immediate needs is wings and the other parts and stuff we need to fix the 172 we have here that got damaged back in March. And I said, that's going to be about $15,000. And before we left there, they gave us an envelope with a check in it. When we got back home, I looked at it, and the check was for $15,000. So, and these people didn't know us. I mean, they were good friends with our friends, but they personally didn't know us at all. And it was just that, you know, little interactions of, you know, a few hours that God moved on their hearts to contribute that.
Wow, so praise the Lord. So as we can see, guys, God continues to provide for the ministry and its needs. He uses individual family, He uses multiple families, etc. Those are some updates that we wanted to share with you guys. So we thank you again for coming back on the channel, Dwayne, to share with us updates of how God continues to provide. We hope you were inspired. We hope somehow the video was a blessing to you. If it was, leave a comment below. Share the video with family and friends. We always welcome new subscribers. And until then, mabuhay from the Philippines. Salamat po. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks, guys, for coming.